back of the room. I'm not that sweaty today. Uh, all right. I'll try and believe you on that one. All right. Now, why did that go away? There we go. Screen share. That. There we go. And I'm going to make, yep, that is the primary. So everybody who is watching the stream should be seeing what I am showing you. No. Why is it not? Screen share. There. There we go. All right. So, let's see here. Can I access the Q&A from here? Yes, I can. No, I can't enable that. All right. Hold on a second. I've got a... Oh, I don't have the Q&A enabled. All right, whatever. There will be no Q&A. If you are watching this, find me and send me a message in chat, and you will pop up and take over the screen. All right. So, let me just go ahead and angle this a bit. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Google Mail training. Everybody should be pretty much familiar with what you're seeing here. Hopefully, everyone has logged into their mail at least once at some point in the past. Need to get my, there we go. All right. So we're going to just kind of start from the beginning with your mail, kind of looking at what you do with your mail and kind of go into all the different functionalities, kind of dig into some of the things that are kind of typically hidden. So yeah, so we'll go ahead and start with composing mail. You have this nice big compose button here. It pops up this little in-window thing that you can put your mail in. It's pretty basic. But the first thing that we may want to do, and actually, let's change the screen sharing to full screen for this. Yes, you're going to go on forever. Is you'll notice it's got this expand, and you can expand it to take up the full screen. But if you want to look at your other mail messages while you're typing, this isn't that useful. But what you can do from the Compose window is hold down the Shift button, and suddenly this arrow turns, instead of the expand, it turns into a little pop-out. And you now have a full Compose message here, so you can shrink it down, move it around on your screen, so you can then have as many things open as many windows open as you want. If you don't have to worry about resizing your whole mail and everything kind of going crazy. And then you notice we've got the CC, the BCC, all this here. So if you want them, you click on them in the corner and they expand out. You can actually click on the actual one. Let's just choose some random people that are at the top of my list. Now, if you don't want them all to be CC'd, once they're already in here, you've got this really nice kind of drag and drop functionality where you can kind of move them around within it smoothly. If you want to actually get at the details, you can double click on it. So oftentimes if I'm going to be including someone's name and email address in another email, I'll put them in the CC line, double click, copy paste, don't have to retype their whole name. Also, some of the interesting things is when you mouse over an email address, you get this little pop-up. You'll notice that this one says following, so if they have already set up a Google Plus account, then they'll show up either following here, I'm following there. I think everybody I'm following. JB, let's see if Jennifer, looks like Jennifer Blakely set up. Am I following? If they're not someone you're following using the Google Plus, you'll get this add to circles. Anybody who has either the following or add to circles or anything like that, you can use a fully functioned Google Hangout with them. So in the future, so this is just the quickest way to check any of your contacts. Doesn't matter if they're PSU or non-PSU, if they have a Google Plus account attached to their name, you can just pop into here. This person I can do a full featured hangout. Dee Dee has had an invite. I can't do a full featured hangout. I can't do the Google chat with her. All of that stuff. Kathleen Lefebvre. I can do a full featured hangout, and you'll notice that when that happens, you get the little video call icon, the chat with this contact. If you want to spin off another email. This also, all of this mouse over stuff works as well when you are reading emails. If you have in the from field or in the to, CC, whatnot, you can mouse over, get all of this information. More in here, you can, if you do use the Google Chat, which I do advise you guys to do, you've got the, you can ask to have them show them in the chat list. You've got that button, the emails button, which then just automatically searches for all emails from Kathleen Lefebvre. So one of the cool things about that, so let's say I've got this open from Natasha. Nope. I want all the emails from Natasha. Automatically searches for it since you're right there. Really handy. Let's see here. Someone just texted me. Looks good so far. Thank you, Jeff.
Is chat gone after, does that disappear?
No. The chat will stay there until I come in here and hit the close. Now, the chat contents should disappear when basically PSU has explicitly set, and I'll go into this more when we hit the chat part, but they have explicitly disabled logging of chats. However, that is not something you should rely on because the other end may include logging or may manually be logging it or all sorts of other things. So I would not rely on that, and I will get into that in more detail once we hit that. So once we have our, let's go ahead and trim this a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead there. All right. Here is the, let's just do this. I'm going to send him format. Is the app. All right. So if I wanted to format this, so first, if I want to get into the formatting, we've got some basic formatting options here. They're pretty straightforward. You can change the font, have some basic font size options, list options, if you want to increase, decrease, all that stuff. Pretty basic font options. Colors if you really want. And as well as the remove formatting. So if, let's say, you're copy and pasting content from a website or a Word document and the formatting goes crazy, this remove formatting is your friend. It will strip out all extraneous formatting and let you go in and do stuff. If you want to, add the quote bars, like you're pulling something from another email, whatnot, it's right there. I'll get that more into it later. If you want, you've got a couple of options to attach pictures. Let's see if I have any pictures handy. Nope. All right. Actually, let me just do this. Alt print screen. And then, actually, no, we can just do this. So if you need to send like a screenshot, Alt print screen, and then paste, and it will paste in the image into your mail. You can do this with any sort of, copy image, paste into mail. If I had, let me go ahead and make this an actual image file on my desktop. Let's go and put that on the desktop. Save. If I wanted to, come on, delete the image. No. There we go. Backspace over it. Desktop. If I want to include the image in the email and have it visible, I just drag it. It puts it in the email. Pasting it in, we'll put it in the email. The other option is if you mouse over this little plus sign here down with the attached files, let's get rid of the icon, you've got the insert Frodo, and I can do it that way, and it puts it in line. So adding images to email is very easy. There's a multitude of ways of doing it. It accepts pretty much all the standard image formats, JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, that sort of thing. If, let's say, we had, let's see here, where is it? Let's go to sent mail. Let's grab that really long link that I sent out. No. All right. If you wanted to include a link, but you didn't want it to have, oops, nope. Why did that not copy right? Oops. Exit, I did not want full screen. Just copy that link out. So let's say you had a very long link. You wanted it to be clickable, or you didn't want to have the very long link. Link. You can go into here and put that in, and now you have a clickable link. It's probably not the best idea to do this. Only do it in cases where you're pretty sure the user won't be able to copy paste the link or anything like that. Some people don't. A lot of people don't trust these links just because you can never really tell where they're going. So it is there if you want it. The next big thing is attaching files. Now, the traditional way, hit the attach button, find the file you want, whatnot. It sends the file along with the email. Anybody who ever gets their hands on this email will then be able to view that file at any point in the future. Anybody who can get it in transit, whoever owns the server here, whoever owns the server there, any people between those servers, they can see this file. Attaching it with the little paper clip in the traditional way is effectively stapling a sheaf of paper onto a postcard and sending it through the mail. There is no way someone, you can assure no one will look at it. So we do have, let's go ahead and delete that, the insert files using Google Drive. This is a little bit better, depending on how you use it. I'm just going to go ahead and grab that image and insert it there. So you can just upload the file to Google Drive. It adds a link to the file within the body of the email. And when I send it, it pops up and says, all right, that particular file isn't shared with your recipient. By default, anybody who has this link to this Google Drive file can view the file. It's one step removed in that, whoever sees the email can access this file. But once you're sure the recipient has that file, you can delete the file and then no one can get access to it. So we do have a little bit of control over the lifespan of this file. However, if you go into more options here, you can set it to recipients of this email can view, can comment, can edit the file. Now, this one, you have to have an email address tied to a password. It can be any email address within Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead. So let's see here. I do not have that. But basically, if you have a Yahoo account you're sending this to, or a DHS account, before you send this mail, all you have to do is have them go into drive.google.com, create an account with that email, and then you can send files to that email. We'll have to tie a password to it, but it is completely doable, and that way we can assure that only they receive the file. For the most part, you're only going to get this you're only going to do this internally. The nice thing about this is that it is secure, and we can put everything in here except for HIPAA data. All confidential files can be sent this way except for HIPAA data. So this is a really great, really low-friction tool to get files to recipients that are not on site or within organizations. We can't use HIPAA data because of certain rules around. Let's go back to my mail now that I've sent it. Did I get everything I want? Because of certain rules around the around where the emails and where the data is specifically stored. And we can't guarantee that with the Google Drive situation, so that's a limitation of Google Drive, no HIPAA data. But any other confidential files, we are good to go with that. So, all right, so that's formatting, inserting images, and attaching. Does anybody have any more questions about the Compose window here? Anybody? Yes?
I have a question about, I don't know if this is good enough. So, I was at a website the other day, and it had like a clickable link to send an email.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I hit it, it wants me to open Microsoft Outlook, which I don't want to do.
Yes.
Can I set that up to open one of these?
Yes, you can, and actually that was the next section of here. So now we're going to get into kind of the more functionalities of mail. First, you notice up here in the address bar, if you're using Chrome, I'm not sure it shows up on Firefox or IE, but you've got, but I believe it does. You get this icon that when you mouse over it says this page wants to install a service as a handler. What that means is when we click on it, it wants to allow mail.google.com to open all your email links. So you hit use Portland State University. Let's see, what else do you have in there? So yeah, okay, so it is a Chrome specific thing. And then you hit done. And then back in here, so let's just, yep, so we've had that done. So if we now go to a website, say RIXW/staff, and click on someone, it will automatically go to your PSU mail here to try and compose. And it will open it up in its own little window separate from the mail app. So yes. So yeah, so that's one of the cool features that we have available to us. Also, let's go into the, let's see here. Where am I on my list? Ah. Yes. Also, we've got a lot of people have the conversation view. Some people don't like it. Some people do. The nice thing is that it is pretty good at grouping conversations, that if someone replies to something, it will show back up in here. And the nice thing is that for the most part, it keeps all of the previous, if you don't want to have to backtrack through, if everybody has been including the previous, email, it's under this little trimmed icon, so you can kind of go back into there. Or what I like to do, and let's see here if I can, especially if I am wanting to, kind of compose things, is use this pop out in a new window. So now I can have this, I can resize it over here, kind of go through stuff. I can, select stuff and whatnot, copy it into a new message, or have it open in both places, have the reply open here and working on that while at the same time I'm scrolling through here. Can't do it well on this screen because it's got a really low resolution, but it's a really handy tool to do. You can actually look at the same conversation in both places. You can even actually pop it out multiple times and have, whoops, not that, multiple versions side by side. So you can actually have your reply window open while you're able to scroll up and down. And as soon as you start replying, it gives you this nice little, you are currently editing your reply in a separate window. So it just kind of helps you keep track of which one is the actual active draft and where you're working. In the conversation view, again, you can put a mouse over and it adds to circles. Now, within the mail controls for an email, you've got a couple of options. First one, archive. Gets it out of your inbox, doesn't delete it, it's still searchable, it's still referenceable. The second one, report it as spam. It deletes it. But not only that, it sends a message to Google saying this is spam. Keep an eye out for it for everyone else who might get it, and it literally does help us reduce the amount of spam everyone gets. You've got the delete, which you can delete stuff if you really want, but there's really not a good reason to, because you have effectively unlimited email space, and archiving gets it out of sight until you specifically are looking for it anyway. So, you can delete stuff, but there really isn't a whole lot of purpose. You can move it to any of your labels here, and the label as same thing. So labeling it, the difference between moving to and labeling. If you label it as something, it just adds the label. So let's say I will add this to RRI. So this conversation, you notice, has the RRI, but it's still in my inbox. If I move it to information docs, it leaves my inbox. It gets archived, the label gets attached to it, and it goes, it basically goes away. It's really just, do you want to leave it in your inbox but have it easily searchable by that label, or do you just want to file it and have it go away? It's basically the difference between those two things. Under here, we've got the more. This is also echoed down here in the little reply drop-down. From the more, you can mark it as unread, so it stays back. You can mark it as not important, and then what will happen is if you have priority inbox, it will file it different. It will not show up in your important emails, which are things that Google thinks are important based on your behavior. So if you respond within 5 minutes to email from this person, any email from that person will be important. Same thing with conversations that you're really involved in. If you're using tasks, you can add it to a task list. If you want to star it, you can add a star, and you can actually use, if you have multiple stars set up, which I do, looks like I do, you can actually add different stars to the actual individual, and then you can filter it by if you prefer flagging messages or starring messages to kind of separate them, and you have a system for that from other that you would like to use. That functionality is available, and searching by the type of star is really handy. Filter messages like these again. So let's find us a nice, good filterable message in here. RRI Pro Development. If I wanted to filter messages like these, basically it tries to guess what you're trying to filter that email on. Is it filtering who's it from? Is it filtering from, if it has the words, this one, it's looking for the list of RI. So looks like that's fine. Yeah, and I will go ahead and create a filter, and then I have options of how to treat this message. So let's say I have a mail server that I'm a part of that sends me messages every day that I don't need to see every day. I can go here, I've got some options. I can mark it as read or archive it, just it goes into my archive. If I ever need to search for its contents, I can search for its contents. I can apply the label. So if we've got all of that, let's go ahead and new label. We're going to do development. Spell that, looks about right. So there we go. So anything, I'm going to still have it come to the inbox just because that. I'm not gonna delete it. I'm not gonna forward it, but I don't have any forwarded addresses set up. And that's a category again. Categorizations is an email inbox mode. There are a couple of them, and I will get to them later. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that. I'm gonna go star it, and I'm gonna also apply the filter to any previously existing conversations that meet these. And there we go. And so now, all right, the filter was created. I go back to my inbox, and everything that comes through that mail list now, or has that mail list listed, will be labeled as professional development. So I don't have to manually label it and then archive it later. It's just there, so as soon as I read it, I hit archive, and I know I can find it in that professional development resource over here. So, and there it is. Oh, got 210 messages in there. Okay, so that didn't get as much as I'd like. All right, I got way more than I'd liked. So, yeah. So some of the, some of these filters you are definitely going to want to go in and kind of specially tune them. This filter I probably should have, instead of putting it in the has the words, professional development at RI, I probably should have put that in the from field sort of thing, so you can play around with the filters, you can tune them. The nice thing about stuff is so now I've got this label professional development, but I want all of them so we've got this search bar up here. So basically I can just type in professional development. There are specific keywords like label professional, so I can kind of click into here. So, so we're searching specifically the professional development label, Brianne, from Brianne, and then I can go ahead and search that. And there's Brianne, and you notice all of them are marked as important. All of them have stars. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a filter from this search. I do not want the professional development. I need the all mail. But how's the words? List. Whatever. So yeah, so you can do either a manual search here. So if I'm looking for Google training, I can start going through. I want Google training from Brianne, or I can go into from Brianne. Brianne. I can spell. There we go. You can do that. Once you have a really nice search figured out, you can go ahead and create a filter off of that just automatically applies labels and labels and stars and that sort of stuff. So yeah, and I think that's pretty much what we can do with the raw. That is the raw screen. This is with no add-ons or attachments. Do you have any questions about what you see on here? Anything that doesn't quite make sense before I jump into the fun that is customization and new features.
I might have missed it, but how do you search by star? I didn't catch that.
Oh, if you want to search by star, actually, let's go ahead and check that more. Doesn't have the star. That's not it. Label starred, is that it? Yeah. So I think it's labeled starred. Depending on the star.
It
Let's see
doesn't
here.
discern one color.
Starred with blue star. So we do blue star. If I can. BL. Blue star? No. It's labeled blue star. Is it labeled? No. Let's go into settings and let me see if I can figure that out. There is a way to do it.
Okay.
So drag the stars. How do I search for that now? Yeah, there is a thing to head off. If you mouse over the stars, it will tell you what they're searchable for. But yeah, there is that. Yeah. Advanced searched from the star label list. Aha! It has star. No. That's blue star. Yep, there it goes. So you just need to actually get the name of the star, and I can, if I want, create a filter. Also, the nice thing is this search is up in the URL. So if you make a bookmark to this, it will. If you click on that bookmark, it will load the page and do the full search. So if I want to have just a bookmark to everything, I can go ahead and just bookmark the has blue star, save, and then if I want to go into here, I can just hit the bookmark, and it will always give me those search results. So if I want, to have a view of all of the mail within the IT support or all of the mail within this particular project, I can just make a bookmark of that search, hit it, and there you go. So yeah, all right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I think, let's see. Customization. So we're going to pop into, so we've got the display density that you can change it around. Sometimes, depending on the size of the window, it may auto affect stuff. Like, normally I set it for cozy because I like stuff to be kind of close together, not a lot of gapping. But because I have such a small window at the moment, they've automatically set it to compact, just because otherwise I wouldn't be able to see the whole screen, or I wouldn't really have a whole lot of information. So let's go into settings. All right, so from here, we've got the general settings. Pretty basic. Your default reply behavior, do you want it to be reply or reply all? If you want to customize your fonts and your default font style, you can go in there and do that. Turn conversation view on and off. The show send and archive button in the reply, really handy. You're like, all right, here's my response. Hit send and archive instead of just send, and suddenly it's out of your inbox until they respond back. Really handy for kind of getting things out of sight, out of mind that you no longer have to work on. But once they get a response, it pops back. The whole conversation pops back in your inbox, so you don't lose track of that. Down here, you can change how many stars you want. You can set it for all stars. Only have the one style of star. I like the 4-star, but you can, move stars between the lists. If you only want stars, if you want, a star and a couple different check boxes, if you want all the options, that's available to you. Chat notifications. These are really handy if you want to use the Google Chat feature, which I would advise you do. It's just very handy. New mail notifications. So basically, you'll get if you have desktop notifications turned on, which I'm going to go ahead and do. We're going to go ahead and allow it. And what that does is down here in the taskbar here in a second. I've got to. Oh, no, I don't have to change it. Okay, so it's enabled. Should be. Well, let's go back to inbox. No, I don't want that. Settings, did that? Okay, but what the chat notifications will do is even if you have your mail window closed or minimized, it'll put a little pop-up in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen saying you have gotten a mail from, or this person wants to chat with you, sort of a thing. It'll give you that sort of a notification even if you're not in your mail window. Keyboard shortcuts, they are very handy if you like them. Button labels, so right now they're set for icons, so when I go to the Compose window, and it's not the Compose window, with the inbox, so we've got all the button icons. If you want to turn these into text labels, you can flip that switch in the settings. Wrong settings. All right, picture. It's handy to do. The people widget, I would advise keeping the people widget. That's not when you mouse over and it pops up all of their information. If you don't like it, you can hide it. That's completely up to you. When you send the contacts, do you want to auto create contacts? So if someone sends you an email, it doesn't add them to your address book, but if you send them an email back, it will create a contact for them. The nice thing about this is that everybody that you've sent mail to, it just will eventually populate your contacts list, and the contacts list, if we set it up right, can sync across everywhere. So wherever if you want your PSU mail on your phone, you can also get your PSU contacts if you want it on your home computer, anywhere you add the web, if you want it on your tablet. And of course, the signature section. Personal level indicators, so these are just hints. They put them in the mail in the list here. So where do they put those? I think I've got them. I think they're overridden by the important thing. But yeah. Let's go down here. Show snippets, which is when you're looking at let's open this in a new window so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Here's the snippet of, the content. It gives you, or if you don't want that, if you just want the subject line, you can disable it. I like snippets myself. The vacation responder, very handy for people. And the nice thing is that as long as you're outside of this date range that's listed there, it just auto-disables itself. So really handy to set up. You can, if you want to limit it, you can send it to only people that are in your contact list or people within PSU. That way, message lists, that sort of stuff, you're not sending stuff off to outside partners or people that you don't know aren't getting the vacation responder. Always leave it as Unicode. There's no reason not to. So yes, really everything should be going to Unicode. Here is where you can control your labels. You notice that this whole side thing is generally This is all your labels, so I can come in here. If I don't want to show my chats in the list, I can hide it. They're still available, but I can still go get access to them. But I can just control what shows up in the list. Here, show, hide, all of the labels. I think these are, yeah, more labels. So yeah, system labels, circles labels, which is how Google Plus groups people. All the other labels here. Inbox, you got a couple of different inboxes. You've got the default inbox. You've got the important first inbox, which uses the little importance markers. Let's go ahead and save changes. So now you notice you've got the important section, the everything else section, settings, inbox. You can do the unread first, which again just puts the stuff you haven't read, everything else down below, starred first, or priority inbox, which lets you customize up to 4 different sections. So my personal is I have the unread first, I have all of my OIT filter, I have my starred filter, and then everything else. So and the everything else is pretty much everything I haven't archived yet. So, and you can come into and kind of choose how many, whatnot. So yeah. So let's go ahead and save those. So this is what my mail looks like. Here's all the stuff I haven't looked at. Here's the stuff that's been coming in from OIT. Here's all the starred stuff that I have that's either currently in flight or stuff that I may need to go and refer back to. And then here's everything else, stuff that I've read, but I don't need to work on right now. But yeah, so that kind of helps you organize that. Or if you want, you can use this, which the tab view, which I don't, but some people do, which tries to break stuff up into, is this social promotions? Is it like, auto-generated updates? Is it from forum posts or message lists? It tries, and it can be very good, but it's one of those things that it's learning your behavior over time. So we will support you with it, and we will help you if you are interested in it. But honestly, I would advise if you really are serious about separating out your inbox, I would suggest the priority inbox. Is a lot more direct control we have over it. Let's see here. Accounts. If you want someone to be able to send mail as you, so if you have an assistant or if you are the assistant to someone, you can delegate an account. You can, basically give their PSU email access to be able to send mail as you. It does note in the from field that it is coming from you on behalf of someone. And let's see here. I believe it is up in here. Yep. So I have the notify RRI at pdx.edu that I can send mail out as, or I can go into it and I can look at all the mail in it. I don't use this. I think Jen uses this. I don't know. But yeah, so it's, it's a handy way for you to get access to other people's email accounts. You can't get it all in one inbox like you could with, say, Thunderbird, where you can have the long list with everything. You actually have to break it up into like multiple windows if you want to have multiple open simultaneously. But it's doable. Yeah. So filters, again, this is where you actually control the actual filters. You can go in. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that filter that I made earlier. Forwarding, if you want to forward mail, you can. Ideally, we won't. Do not use pop mail. This is if you want another device or use Thunderbird or whatnot. If you really do need to use a device that uses IMAP or a program that uses IMAP like Thunderbird, we can set you up, or Outlook. Outlook's another time people use IMAP. We can set you up so you can use a non-web-based interface. don't work great. I mean, they're functional, but Google's IMAP implementation is kind of janky. Here's the chat section. Chat is on. So people that I can either have people that I've chatted or people that I've explicitly allowed to show up in my chat list. My chat list is down here, so let's expand this. So it's this little chat icon down here in the bottom, and you can kind of, there's a lot of people that I've tried to chat with that have not chatted me back, so they show up here as the little no symbol. If they are people that I have chatted with, they've got the little gray X because they're not available at the moment. Here, with this account, it works. It's because I tried to add you with your alias.
Oh, okay.
So here are people that their computers are asleep or they're not, their mail window isn't open, but they're still logged into mail, so I can send them stuff. Here are some people that are around, so I can just click into it. Okay. And, oh, no, he is away. Oh, well. But from here, we've got a couple of options within this chat, which is start a video call, start an audio call. This is a great way to set up Hangouts, is to get people right into it, especially to one-on-one. It is literally the easiest way. Get them in the chat window, hit the call button. It works 100% of the time. Starting Hangouts through the Hangouts functionality usually works, but it might not always ring through, so there is that. If you want, you can add more people to the chat. So if I wanted to add Brian, we can now have a group chat. So he's come in, but you'll notice the promote this to a video hangout option is gone.
So is the hangout the video
Yes.
or the call?
Both. The audio is a hangout without video. It's the exact same plugins, it's the exact same interface, everything. Also, you can do this with anybody with a chat, with the Google Chat client up and running, but if you try and do a video call with them and they don't have the Google Plus, you get the limited scope Google Hangout functionality, no document sharing, no screen sharing, no anything like that. It's just a video stream between the two of you, no recording, all of that. So it is a limit of people who don't have Google Plus.
Can you open multiple windows of this and invite
Yes.
people then?
We've got the pop-out, so we've got, here's the Brian and Jeff one. Here's just the Jeff one.
And they can all go into the video.
Here's just the Victoria. You can only have one video or audio or Hangout going at a time. Once you have a Hangout going, you can invite more people. But like I said, the inviting more people. Oh, and okay. Once you have a video Hangout going, and all of the participants have Google Plus, you can start adding them to that Hangout, and they should get notifications saying they've been invited to allow them to get in.
So that's how they call
Yes.
it.
But multiple people into a Google Hangout all have to have Google Plus accounts. It's a thing. So.
What is just the audio?
Same thing, but
Like a Google Hangout.
it's a Google Hangout, just it doesn't try and turn on video cameras. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, the chat, let's see here, where is it down here? Does it have, no, it doesn't even have the option. So yeah, chat is not recorded by policy, but there's nothing for me to go preventing me from copy pasting the link out. And if you are having a Google Chat with a non-PSU email address, there is nothing preventing them from, logging logging it. Also, if they, you've got the go off the record. but there is really no way to enforce that. So I wouldn't trust it. But technically, no, it limits the ability for chats to be recorded. So, and it is encrypted throughout the entire transit, so it actually is a fairly secure way of talking to people. We haven't quite gotten the go-ahead from OIT to say yes. If you want to, send someone a client's address or a phone number or other confidential information, we can use Google Chat for it. We haven't gotten that go-ahead. There is still the conversation, but from what I've gotten so far, it is the most secure way to ad hoc send that information. Way more secure than email. The only thing that is more secure is putting it on the iDrive and having them remoting in, accessing it, sort of thing. So, all right. You can verify I don't have a camera and microphone set up. You've got your speakers, all of that stuff, echo cancellation. Leave the quality statistics on. It keeps track of how many times it tries to feedback or if the stream starts breaking up. It generally improves. You don't have to if you're paranoid about it. Go ahead and disable it. If you want sounds to play every time you get a chat notification, if you want emoticons in your chats, all of that, very handy.
How do you look up chats again if you want to see what you've done?
If you've done so, it's in the settings under chats here. If you are not, so I can go into this, the chat, and pretty much all the stuff that I've had today, the most recent stuff, it will probably be in your chat history. If I go off the record, it will stop recording that, and that will eventually purge, sort of thing. So it can be handy. Don't trust that it's going to store data. Like I said, PSU is explicitly, by policy, purges that stuff almost immediately. It may be a couple of hours, but yeah, don't expect this to keep a good log of things. But yeah, and then into the labs functions where we can get really funky. All right, so authentication icons, just handy. If I enable that, it adds some more functionality just to make sure that it's going to try and authenticate that the email is actually coming from you, or whoever's sending it through their stuff. There's a whole feature set of trying to authenticate. I would not trust it 100%. Like, if there is no key there, it is not a bad thing, but because it's easy to get a false negative on it. Like the reception, all the copiers, they will never give you that key because of how they send mail. But it's something that helps. The auto advance, if you, I like it just so it automatically goes to the next. You can control once you hit archive on a message, instead of kicking you back to the whole mail list and having to click back in, you can it'll automatically open up what the next message is once you archive or spam or trash a message. Canned response, really handy. It's a nice little feature that lets you set up a couple of canned responses that you can call up at any time. If you want to customize your keyboard shortcuts, the calendar gadget I really like. It puts your today's calendar in the bottom left-hand corner, just the kind of so it's really handy. Google Maps previews, if you want to, it'll read your email and try and figure out what is an address, and so it'll try and give you a Google Map option. We don't have access to Google Voice. Green robot, if the person is on an Android phone, it will show up as a little green robot instead of the dot, so if someone's on the road or whatnot, you can tell. Mark as red button, so if you want to just force, you kind of click through, force it as red to get it, you can do that. Multiple inboxes, so you can, I I am not 100% sure if this will let you access inboxes that are delegated to you, but be happy to experiment with them. And and the nice thing about all of these is you go back into settings, hit it to disable, and suddenly it all goes away. So you really can't mess up your email with this. So that's handy. Picasa, if you're getting Picasa links. Pictures in chat, so instead of their name, it shows you their little mail picture if they've got that set up. Preview pane. So that's the one where you have the list of mail, but also the current one. It is very handy. I really like it. In the left column, you can add some quick links. So if you've got a bunch of saved searches that you're using regularly, you can put those searches in the quick links, and then they're just right there on the left bar, really easy to grab. The quote selected text. Here it is. So if you set the notifications up, this pops up, so it tells you this. It'll add this little icon here of any email and whatnot. It's just taking a little while to load. So let's hide that again. Yep. See, there you go. It pops it up without actually. So even if I wasn't in mail or whatnot, I'd get this little pop-up. I'd get the X to clear it. Quote selected text. So instead of quoting the entirety of the previous message, you can select just what you want and then hit reply, and it will automatically set up the quote section with the headers and everything with just that section. The right side chat takes the chat out of this bar here, because if it's getting a little full of all of your labels and your calendar and your links, it puts it over to the right. Smart Labels does, has some custom label functionality. Undo send, really handy. You can set up a little timer that lets you count, that will give you 10, 15, 20 seconds to realize the folly of your email and hit undo. I like that a lot. The unread message icon, if you click on that, what it does is it adds the count of unread messages up here in the tabs. And so when you mouse over all of the stuff, it will have the little unread message icon. If you're just looking at your tabs, it will show you the list of unread messages. It is very handy that way.
So Tyson,
Uh-huh.
back to undo send. Is there
Yes.
any way if you've already sent the message, it's been a little bit, and the person has not opened it on the other
No.
side, that you can recall?
There is no way. Once it has left our
I
server,
missed that. Me too.
yeah.
There's a couple things I missed.
There is a standard that asks the recipient server, please, please, pretty please, with a cherry on top, will you delete this message? Almost no recipient servers will respect that. Almost none. Like, within certain, we could enable that within just PSU because we control the servers. So we could do that. So within all messages within PSU, we could enable that functionality, but it would not be consistent across all mail because there's no way we can ask outside servers to do that.
How was Outlook?
What?
How was Outlook?
Outlook? You're using a Microsoft-owned server, and they're respecting that. Outlook, if you send a message and you say undo, Outlook sends that message to please, 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 pretty please delete this.
See, they would get a message though, let's say that this message has been recalled.
Yes.
Right.
But
And you
will
want
there?
if it was
It is
recalled
up. It is on the responsibility of the person who received that message, on their honor, Scout's honor, not to look at that first message, and it's on the honor of the, the server host to delete that message and not let them. And almost no one does that. The only people that do that is within Microsoft Exchange servers. Those are the only people that we do it consistently. So it is a function that some providers say they have, but it is not something that we can consistently rely on. And Yelp reviews. If you get a Yelp link, I don't get many Yelp links in my email, so I don't even enable that. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. Dook, 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 dook. Yes, leave this page. Also, if you have a lot of chat windows open or compose windows, it says that it's a part of that particular load on the page. So even though they're in separate windows, they're technically child windows, so if you refresh the page, they will all close. So now I have my chat function I've got here, got Zipbox. I'm just going to, Zipcar, I'm just going to go ahead and archive that. Hello, Celeste. Yeah, why is that? I don't know why that got caught in the whole thing. But, yeah. Go ahead and mark that. And that one's done. So, yeah, so I got that there. I've got my calendar today, which is just the stuff. I can go ahead and do a quick add at 2 second Google training MCB 927. There we go. It adds it right there. I probably should have added, but I can go in. So I've got the little mini stuff. Let's get rid of the past events. I can control what calendars I'm seeing here. I can go into more details into the calendar. It'll jump into here, so you can jump stuff into there. From here, if I wanted to invite people, I could invite people. No, this is at 2. Save. It gets me into my calendar view. So yeah, and then, yep. So that's pretty much there. If you, depending on how you like, you can disable the view pane. You can enable the view pane. You can make it a vertical split or a horizontal split like I have it now. You can resize the view pane. Let's go ahead and bring that back down. So yeah.
Tyson, how
Yeah.
do you sync the Google Calendar feature to your phone?
That is completely different, but basically all you do is set up a Google account and tell it to pull your Google Calendar down, and it should automatically do that.
Okay.
So when we can set you up with that, it takes about 5 minutes. It's just one more configuration when we put your PSU Google Mail on your phone. But it does sync across everything. But yeah. So let's go back. So here's my calendar for the day. There's that. Some fun things. So let's do, let's go into here. Jeff. Here's that message. I'm going to go, here's all this details. I'm going to go ahead and pop this out so I can do some stuff here. So in my reply, I now have the canned response. This seems to be a phishing attack. So it's pretty nice. The canned response is actually pretty straightforward. You go into the little icon here, and you can either insert it as a canned response, or I'm going to go ahead and save it as a So please continue your vigilance. And of course, I cannot spell. I definitely vigilance. So I'm going to go ahead and save that as I will overwrite that canned response. I could save it as a new one. So now I'll go ahead and delete it. And expand it. There we go. So it's pretty straightforward, the canned response function. We do have a mass mail function as well. So like, you know how you could create an email in Outlook and then give it an Excel file and it would email everybody in that Excel file? There is that capability here as well, which I will go ahead and just no recipient, and I'm going to go this, say, actually let me see here. So let me go. Actually, I will deal with that one in a second. From here, we've got, oh gosh, where is it? Yeah, so we've got mark as unimportant, red star, all that sort of fun stuff. Anything interesting that I added in here from my, oh, trash that one. I'm going to, there we go, hit the reply. Here's the auto quoting. Really handy there. Pictures in chat, quote selected text. I think that's pretty much everything. And you'll notice my unread messages up in the top left is 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Get back in here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and create. Let's go to Drive. All right. So we'll go to my SPSS contact list. So this is kind of how I was contacting everybody who had expired SPSS things. First, I went into Get Add-ons. Yet another mail merge. Hit Add. I've already got it involved, so it's there. Add-ons. Manage. Oh, we can go into here. So how do we do this? So we start a mail merge. Bum, 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 bum. So it asks me which draft I want to do, so I should probably create a draft. SPSS follow-up. Here is your key. Here, let's do R. Your keys. Here. Keys. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and close that because it's now saved. It automatically saves it as a draft. Let's try this again. Tools, add-ons. There we go. Start mail merge. Working. SPSS follow-up is my most recent draft. All right. We're going to send me a test email.
So what's the advantage of doing a mail merge instead of just creating a group in your contacts?
The nice thing about the mail merge is that it it sends out multiple individualized emails. So if you have instead of a group, so basically if you have confidential email addresses if you have a group of recipients that you don't want them all getting each other's email addresses, this is the way to do it.
But if you put it in the BCC, they won't see each other's, right? Is that how it goes if you send it only to BCC, theoretically? Yeah, even if they can
Yes,
reply?
please, with a cherry on top, please server don't show this. BCC is very thin on that. It's not. I cannot say with 100% certainty no that they will not get those email addresses. So, and if you wanted to include things like, let me go back to my drafts. So with here, hello. I believe it's double quote name. Here are your, so if you want to have, subsections or recipient-specific information, I think it's double quote. Let me double check that real quick. Add-ons, another mail merge, help. Oh, it's double. So if I wanted to do this, I could do hello. Quack, quack. Here is SP key, whack, whack. Save that, and then so now what it'll do is it will, if I included a name field, it would include their name, and it would include whatever's in this key field with them. So it would just send it out to everybody, and you'd be able to, so any of the benefits of mail merge would be there. So yeah. So that's very handy. Also, the nice thing about the Google Drive attachment, if you already have it in your Google Drive, you can just click on an attachment. Any file can be in your Google Drive, not just Google stuff. You can have actual Excel files, real Word documents in here, whatnot. You can't edit them within there, but if
Cannot?
you cannot edit them within the web-based Google Drive. However, if you come into self-service, and where's the Google Drive? Yep, there you go. You check Google Drive. It's going to go ahead and install. Cool. Just about in time for this. Come on, downloading. It'll grind away. But the nice thing is with this through self-service or through the installer on your home machine, you can get Dropbox-like functionality on your desktop. So once the Google Drive client here installs, there we go. Did it auto? Nope. You can go into Google Drive. Come on. It's done. It's done. Come on. There we go. Sign in now. Come on. Why are you not signing in? There we go. And as it is one of the Google style logins, we have to, oh, nope. Even over you, hit sign in, go to the PSU one. Nope. There we go. It'll put this little icon on your desktop. Yeah, we'll send crash statistics, might as well. And let's go ahead and let's only do the data security folder on this computer because I'm not going to be using this computer a whole lot. Hit start sync. There we go. And so I've got this. Now here's my Google Drive folder. Everything in my Google Drive root folder and only things in the checked folder will show up. So now I've got all of, let's see, what is this? So all of the stuff that is now listed in my Google Drive, I can now go into, so now I can, if I wanted to, I can drag and drop files into here and then attach them through there. So, and again, all of these files completely can be confidential, except for HIPAA data. But I can drag and drop stuff into here. What is that? Oh, yeah. So I can drag and stuff out. I can come in here, open up this Excel file, edit it, save it. All of the changes will be synced to the Google Drive. And so everybody who I've shared it through the Google Drive will automatically get those changes next time they open up that file. It's through their email. So I could come through and I could, wow, reformat a lot of this because it's huge. So, you know, we save it. It takes a few seconds to sync. If someone else has it on their Google Drive, you know, they will be able to then see the most recent version. It has full version control, so through the web interface, you can go and step back through previous versions of this file. So again, no overwriting. It's very handy that way. So yeah, and I think that's about everything. Did you guys have any questions? Anything further? Again, I will, either Brian or I are happy to come on one-on-one basis with everybody to kind of configure specific things you're interested in. You know, help you with pretty much anything. So yeah, that is Google Drive or Google Mail, and pretty much everything you can do pretty much from this one mail screen. So.
Can you also share something like Zotero
Yes.
on Google Drive?
As long as it is a file or a file and folders, you can dump those. You know, you can dump those file and folders into here, and it will sync up. And as long as, because I think Zotero is a config file and then a folder full of like PDFs and other stuff.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, so as long as you put the whole thing in here, it will automatically sync up and everything, and then everybody can go in and look at it and pull down and whatnot. Yeah. You'd probably want to not put it in your root here. You'd probably want to create a subfolder specifically for that Zotero, and then all of the stuff in it subfolder just to, make that tree kind of all in one place. But yeah.
And when you said you saved the data security folder to your Google Drive, what exactly does that mean?
Well, what I did here was I didn't save it to the Google Drive. So I have, let me go ahead and go to the preferences here. I've got a lot of folders in Google Drive, and the only one that I needed on this desktop, because when you set this up, it does bring all of the files onto the desktop. So when the desktop's offline, those files are still available.
Okay.
So if you have a laptop, this is great. But if you do have confidential files that you don't really need on your desktop at all times, putting them in a subfolder and not syncing that folder, probably a good idea.
Okay.
The nice thing is that within Google Drive, let's see here, can I? Yeah, from here you can control the sharing of the folder of a file. It probably will pop up a window of some sort. You can control the full, yeah. So it goes into the sharing stuff. So the only people that can edit this right now is John, me, and Brian, sort of thing. You can add people from here and update that. So yeah, but you can do it all from the Google Drive menu right here. You can, especially if you've got like Google, if you want to open any of the Google Drive styles of documents, it will automatically open a web browser, whatever the default one is, and try and get in. So, but yeah. So yeah. Close all tabs. So yes. Mm-hmm.
Great. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right. Please use this if you're instead of Dropbox. Please, 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 please. Because yeah, Dropbox has become more and more problematic, and the functionality is about comparable at this point. So, all right.
Thank you.
And I hope everybody who was watching this online enjoyed, as this all goes into infinity. Kill the screen share. There we go. All right.